Hello, this is the Teaserking coming to you with my thoughts and predictions for week 3 of college, week 2 of pros. Today's September 14th, 2012. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm off to a great start and just keep going with it. I'm really focused. First, I'd like to talk about what's been going on and what I look for early in the season. Now, I've done a video where I've told you I'm looking for young quarterbacks to bet against and good quarterbacks to bet with. So that's in the beginning. So, for example, West Virginia's quarterback, USC, their quarterback, Barkley. I'm looking to see how Andrew Luck's replacement is. I'm looking to see other hot quarterbacks and teams. The first few weeks are confusing. You've got teams playing Savannah State. Well, it doesn't really tell you anything. It gives the quarterbacks some experience, but it doesn't really tell you what's going on there. And that's the problem with these beginning games. If you get teams that don't play anybody, it's hard to get a grasp on where they are. Conversely, if you got a team like Michigan played Alabama and they played Air Force, you get a little bit better understanding of where they are. Or even teams like USC played Hawaii and Syracuse. It gives you some indication. Stanford, how are they going to do it without Andrew Luck? Well, we looked at their quarterback. They barely beat San Jose State. So is San Jose State a good team or is Stanford terrible? Well, then we see Stanford play Duke and it's 50-13. Okay, their offense is going. Duke's not a terrible team. They're still ACC. It's not like playing, McNeese State or Western Kentucky or Southern Illinois. So it gives you a little bit more of what's going on. So here's my breakdown of the teams that I see are very strong and very weak, judging by these first 2 weeks. The strong teams, Kansas State, they killed Miami. I don't care who you are, you don't kill Miami. They look good. Utah State beating Utah. I would say Utah State in conference will be very good. South Carolina, Rice, Nevada looks good. Air Force, Purdue looks good. Michigan State, they got a very good defense. Iowa State looks good. LSU, UCLA looks very strong. That's going to be a team I'm betting week in and week out. Nebraska looks much better. Georgia, Ohio will be bet very, very heavily in conference play specifically. San Diego State, Louisiana Tech, Alabama. Those are the strong teams I see so far. Ohio State, don't know about. We'll find out more after they play Cal this week. I don't know about Arizona and Arizona State, how strong they are. They're at home. Illinois didn't have Shieldhouse, the quarterback, and Oklahoma State looked terrible. But it's Rich Rodriguez at Arizona, so I can't trust him. He's horrible coach in the bigger conferences. But I noticed he wasn't running the spread. He was running a normal offense. So I really got to watch that for a few weeks and don't overreact. The weak teams, as I see them, Colorado. These are bet against teams. Colorado, Pittsburgh, Utah, UMass, Tulane, Auburn, Kansas, Michigan, Oklahoma State, Wisconsin, Iowa, Washington, Houston, Arkansas, Temple, Virginia, Penn State, Miami, Kent State. I think these are very weak teams. You look for them, you bet against them. Colorado lost to Division II. Pitt's terrible. Penn State's horrible. These teams are just a joke. UMass. So that's what I'm seeing after the first 2 weeks. And the problem with college is all of a sudden they'll put a new quarterback in. He makes the team better. I saw that in Utah. Their starting quarterback was terrible against Utah State. He gets hurt. They bring in the second guy. He looks much better. Because there's so many quarterbacks in a college team, it's very hard when you look at them. You say, well, this starter's terrible. He can't move him. Then all of a sudden they switch, and you get blindsided because he might come in the second quarter of a game because the guy gets hurt, and all of a sudden they're scoring 45 points, and you're making the bet based on this the starter's going to be in there, and he's not good. So that you got to be careful of. But usually you only get burned one game because once you look at the box score and you see this other quarterback came in and he lit it up, then you start trusting it. And it works the first few weeks because the defense isn't prepared to see this guy. All the tape's on the other guy. Then you'll see if he's any good. The other thing I like to do now is teams off of a loss. Let's take Wisconsin. They go to the West Coast, play Oregon State as a road favorite. Nebraska did this against UCLA. I took the home dogs. That to me was a joke last week. Now Wisconsin's off of a loss. So is Nebraska. Now here's a real twist. Wisconsin's playing Utah State, who upset Utah at home. This to me is the perfect storm. You've got Wisconsin coming off of a loss on the West Coast. They're going to be really mad. They're going to be upset. We got to win. We're at home. Utah State beats Utah at home. Huge rivalry. They're going to be flat as a pancake this week. They're going to Wisconsin. They don't even care. They're going to Wisconsin. They go, we just beat Utah. They probably are still celebrating it. This is the lock of the week. Take Wisconsin. They're laying, 14 points? Wisconsin's laying 13, 14 points. Cut it to 7, 8 points. It's a joke. Wisconsin wins by 20 points at least. I watched the Utah game. They blocked the Utah punt. Utah fumbles the ball at the 15 going in with that terrible quarterback. And Utah State ran one option play. The rest of the game they did nothing. And Utah looked terrible. And I think Wisconsin will pound the ball down their throat with Monty Ball, and they'll just dominate. This is a game Wisconsin consistently rolls over. They're a very strong home favorite, especially against the Utah State. No offense against Utah State. They're a fairly good team, fairly coached. They're way over their head here. And you got Wisconsin. First of all, they're coming off of a loss. And second of all, it's a weak spread. It's only 14 points. You got to win by 8, 7 points. I mean, at worst case, they'll win by 21. I mean, they'll shut down Utah State's offense because now they've seen it against Utah. And Utah State's not going to be motivated. They will be flat. Their game was to beat Utah, and they did. And Wisconsin cannot afford a loss. They have to win it. A couple other games like this. Conversely, you got BYU, Utah. Now Utah's off of a loss at home. They always play BYU well, and they always beat them. It's been a while since BYU beat them. The problem here is, again, the second quarterback. Jordan Wynn's out for the season. I guess he's quitting. His shoulder's hurt. He doesn't even want to play anymore. That's the type of quarterback he was. He was always injured. Second streamer looked good. This is a war game. I would take Utah plus the points at home off of a loss against a good BYU team, but you know, they won. They beat Washington State at home with a new coach and a new system. All right, they look pretty good, but there's a huge difference this game being at Utah than if the game was at BYU, I would take them. You got to keep in mind, when you get a good team after a loss, they're extremely dangerous. And in the right situation, I think you find that. And that's when you play them. There's USC's laying 8 to 9 points against Stanford. I love USC here. Yeah, Stanford barely beat San Jose State. Then they beat Duke, who's from the East Coast, playing a late game on the West Coast. Of course, they lose. I just don't. USC, senior quarterback, 2 good receivers. Their defense, the Syracuse put up 29 on them. Syracuse can throw the ball. I was surprised by that score, 42-29. But I just see, now Stanford's been giving USC fits, but that's Andrew Luck. And that's them pounding the ball at him. I can't think of the other runner's name. He's on the Vikings now. Anyway, Jim Harbaugh knew how to beat USC. He pounded the ball at him. Stephon Taylor will have a good game, but I just think USC can score too much. And I think USC all you got to do is win by a field goal. We'll win by a field goal. They're not going to lose here. It's a revenge game. A couple years revenge, like 3 years, and they went to triple overtime last year, and Andrew Luck beat them. But there's no Andrew Luck. This quarterback's in over his head. Defensively, it's a draw. Stanford's got a good defense, but USC's is also very good. You just give the edge to the quarterback and the receivers. I don't see how Stanford's going to stop these receivers. The third pick is going to be Virginia Tech over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's terrible. I don't think they could beat a good high school team now. Virginia Tech loves these games. They have to win it. They're only laying 10. You lay 4. It's a joke. Virginia Tech's a little young, but they got a good quarterback and a good defense. And Pitt's terrible, and Virginia Tech will rout them here. And the last game's Alabama against Arkansas. John L. Smith, what is he doing coaching this team? He's terrible. You've got the quarterback out for Arkansas. UL Monroe beats them. Alabama's going to put them away. They're going to just put pressure on them. They'll methodically win, 30-0, 35-0. You're laying 20. You cut it to 14. It's 2 touchdowns. Alabama will cover that in the first half. Easy win for Alabama. This is what they do. They'll pressure the quarterback, and with the injury to the starting quarterback, and this is a freshman starting, Arkansas will not score in the game, and it'll be a joke. Alabama will rout them. One other game. This is a hard game to pick. Tennessee plays Florida. I love Tennessee in this game. They're only laying 3. They're at home. The problem is when you look at the trend, Florida has won the game the last 5-6 years. So here's where I get in a quandary with myself. I like playing the trends mostly, but the trend says take Florida. But watching Tennessee and their quarterback, Bray's a very good quarterback. I like their defense, and they're at home, and I know they're going to win this game. You're getting 3 points with Tennessee. Normally I would take Florida in the 9, but I don't like Florida's quarterback. I'm not crazy about their coach. They barely beat Bowling Green, and they barely beat a weak Texas A&M team. I look at Tennessee to win by double digits, and Tennessee's going to be a really good team this year. With Bray at quarterback, as long as he's healthy, they will roll. They're a very well-coached team, very good team. Those are my picks for this week in college, and that's kind of how I look at it. The big key is watch the box scores. Read them on Sunday when you're watching the pros, and you're looking for balance. Look for the running back that gets 200 yards, the quarterback. Watch the interceptions. And again, we're betting against weak quarterbacks. We're taking strong quarterbacks and or strong defenses. Every game I gave you, we have a strong quarterback, except for Wisconsin. He's kind of mediocre, but they got the running, and they're off a loss. And then we're betting against weak teams. We're betting against Pitt. We're betting against Arkansas injured. We're betting, whoever we see that's kind of weak that we can take advantage of. Iowa doesn't play this week. They're terrible. Iowa State will be a good dog. So we'll keep an eye on all those. Anyway, have a great week. Please go to the site, email me, whatever you like. I've been red hot so far, and this should be another good week for me, and hopefully I'll make you a lot of money. Have a great day, have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.